Yo, what's poppin', y'all? Welcome back to the PB The Plug channel. In today's episode, we're going to be reacting to the ESPN Top 25 and the 25 list. But before we dive into that, I just want to remind everybody at home, make sure you hit that like button for me. And if you're new and you enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you don't know already, for whatever reason, maybe you live under a rock, I recently started a new podcast and show called The Heliocentric, which is available everywhere on all audio platforms. So head over to whichever platform you use and leave me a 5-star review and like and subscribe to that. I appreciate all the love and support I've been getting. It really, truly means a lot. Now, for this list, I always have to do this disclaimer thing whenever we dive into lists or things that are heavily valued on opinions. Before we dive in, please remember this, y'all. It's just a list. A lot of y'all be getting worked up because you're a fan of a team that has a player or two on this list. And it's like, oh my gosh, how could y'all have him here? How could you have him there? Why don't I? It's not that. These are just lists and it's based off potential. There's no right or wrong answer. If you really in your heart believe that the guy that's on your team should be number one on this list and they have him at number 9, dog, it ain't the end of the world. It don't have to be a war. We have to start understanding how to have basketball dialogue that ain't like warfare. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's just opinion based. It's not a fact or a fiction thing. So I just want to put that out there. If I don't have a player from your team extremely high, or if I feel like they put a guy from your team too high, it's nothing personal. It's no hate. It's just an opinion that I got from what I've seen with my 2 eyes. I accept and welcome all disagreements, and I want y'all to let that be known in the comments off rip, because that's the best way to have progressive basketball talk, is to be able to agree to disagree and then put explanation behind our perspectives, so then we can maybe open up each other's brains and everything to different understandings and whatnot. So I just want to put that out there. I'm going to be talking like that a lot more during this season, because I just want the basketball community to continue to grow and have progressive basketball conversations and learn how to have dialogue without being toxic, stupid, or just downright embarrassing or annoying, because that's not the reality. And that's not how you're going to enter yourself into this world of high-level basketball media. Just a person with experience over the last 5-6 years has been a part of it. Just putting that out there for people that's aspiring to get to this level or to be inside certain rooms. The type of stuff I see on social media will not get you there. That's all I'm saying. I don't know it all, but I know a little. That's all I have to say. Now, with this list, first time really seeing this list to full capacity. Shout out to the playmaker. ESPN Top 25. I love the fact that they say based on future potential. That is very important, because a lot of times we have outlets put out lists and it's very hard to understand the perspective they have behind the list, like the top 100 list. It's like, okay, did you value last year, this year, a bunch of previous years? Are you projecting? Is it a little bit of everything? Because you'll have certain guys who like, man, he had a really good year. Why is he so low? Or man, he barely played last year. How is he so high? That was something that I've seen with the top 100 players list, where it was just kind of head scratching when you saw some of the areas that certain guys played certain amount of games and they still have them high or whatnot. So I love the fact that we have the understanding that this is based off potential. The first thing that catches my eye is the fact that Vic is 3, right? Vic is 3. And the reason that's surprising to me is because I've been seeing the hype around Vic. So it's interesting. And I'm not saying, again, it's not that it's right. It's not that it's wrong. It's just interesting, because when I think about all of the chatter, all of the hype, and what we've seen throughout the first, 7-8 games of Vic, that they don't have him number 1. So I kind of like it. I kind of dig it that they like, man, it's only 8 games. Luka is Luka. He's proven. The track record is there. And I love that for Luka. I am a guy who has been saying, like, the love Luka got early in his career, I was concerned, because I've seen it time and time again where they build this new player up, and then before you know it, they start to tear him down. Oh my gosh, he doesn't have a championship yet. He doesn't have this yet. He hasn't done this. Does he do this? Is he as good as this guy? And it's just like, it's the same recipe in sports media. Through all sports, you'll see it, where they have this new kid who they're just ready to crown as the greatest, and he is the new guy who's going to take over the league. And then as soon as like 5 years, it's like, oh my gosh, he don't got 4 championships. He don't got 3 MVPs. Is he really the guy we thought he was? We haven't really seen that with Luka. People are definitely critical and analyze and pick at his game. But we haven't seen them like try to really tear him down. And I appreciate that because we still haven't seen the Mavericks really completely put the proper team around him. And he still has made it work. So I agree with Luka being number 1. Anthony Edwards at 2. Anthony Edwards at 2 is nice. It's interesting, but it's nice because, again, the hype with Vic, you would just think that like Vic would be 1, or if not, you would be. So I like this from ESPN so far. Other things that's catching my eye at 25, I'll just say it. That's probably the biggest thing for me so far. I can't argue with Luka and Ant being top 2. I can't even argue with Vic being in the top 5, only 8 games into a season. That might be too premature for some people, but because it's based on future potential and what we've seen has been so dangerous already, I like Vic in the top 5. Alperen Şengün. Let's just keep it a buck. There's no way. That's my biggest bone to pick. There's no way he's 25. There's no way. Maybe it's just me, but I really, really like his game. And yes, he has room to grow defensively. That's what a lot of people are going to say. My argument to that is, name me a player on this list who ain't got something to improve on. What the substitute teacher or your teacher used to say, I'll wait. Tell me one player on this list who's completely perfect. There's nothing that they just like. The closest thing you'll have is probably Anthony Edwards so far. Eventually, you'll probably get that from Vic. I mean, Luka is phenomenal offensively, but it's a question of like the way he plays. Is that winning basketball? Is it like too much of James Harden, heliocentric, no pun intended? You know, is it like LeBron-ish? Like, is that the type of play style that can match high-level winning? That's been a question with Luka. It's not a knock, but it's just a legitimate question. Anthony Edwards, we're seeing a lot come together. A couple nights ago, he had an incredible performance defensively and offensively as a two-way superstar. But we still have to see that over the course of a full season. You know what I'm saying? He's still arriving and gearing into that. And there are some things that can be cleaned up with decision-making, shot selection. And some of those things come with being the head of the snake, or, you know, the top dog. Top dogs, they have leeway to take certain shots because those are the same shots that they can make. So I get it. But there's going to be guys that have a lot to work on. And the argument for some of the guys that you may say don't have that much to argue, okay, they'll be the top 10. But outside of the top 10 or outside of the top 5, there's stuff to work on. I'm looking at Cade Cunningham at 6. Big Cade Cunningham fan. Cade Cunningham has to cut down on the turnovers. So far, the turnovers have been too high for my liking. If he's going to be a hub, if he's going to be a guy, if he's going to be ball dominant, how they've started him this year playing, and which I think is the recipe that they want in this buildup of the Detroit Pistons, his turnovers cannot be like that. Cannot be like that. That's just what it is. So I'm looking at that a lot with Cade. Obviously, they're still young, so there's certain things that just has to take time. I don't want to nitpick too much on them because they're still a young team and they're not that good and they're learning on the fly. So there's a lot to grow from Cade, but specifically when I look at Cade, it's the turnovers and it's also the Luka-ness. Like, they're going into him being Super Bowl dominant, but he's not like a Luka level scorer. So Cade Cunningham might have to start taking some of Tyrese Halliburton shit where it's like, I'm going to push up the pace. I'm going to just make guys better with my pass, and I'm going to also be able to score. But, like, Tyrese Halliburton is an elite. He's not an elite level scorer, but he's an elite level playmaker, and he's an above average scorer. So that's like 20 and 12. Boom. The floor is 20 and 12. If Tyrese Halliburton take a step offensively and give you 23 and 12, it's a whole nother thing. Cade Cunningham, you either got to start getting to, you know, being a 26, 27 scorer night in, night out, which is not out of the question. We've already seen some of that already this season. Or make guys a little bit better while cutting down on those turnovers. Just to get through some other things, I don't want to go player by player. Jaren Jackson at 10. I'm not mad at that at all. I love to still see LaMelo in the top 10. I feel like a lot of people have been talking kind of down on LaMelo. Don't understand it at all because of what's been going on over in Charlotte. It's just so much going on over there in Charlotte. There are certain teams that I'm just jealous of. As a Knicks fan, we don't have one player in the top 25, which is fine because we're a little bit of an older team. But like to see the Thunder have Chet, J-Dub, and Giddey, that's 3 of your 5 starters on a top 25 and a 25. That would probably be my biggest thing. Like when you think about based on potential, Jaren Jackson is above Chet. Just based on potential. I don't know. I don't think so. When I look at the rim protection that I would project for Chet, and I look at the offensive profile that I would project for Chet, I would take that over what I've seen from Jaren Jackson. Because the potential lays way more on Chet because he's a rookie versus Jaren, who we have a lot of information and data on already about how he's going to play. Chet is playing the 5 already out the gate. He's holding it down as a 5. He's shooting a 3 ball. Obviously, he's not going to shoot 60% from 3 for the whole year, but he's shooting extremely well, and he's kind of holding his own as that backline defender and as a real legitimate center. Jaren Jackson, amazing defensively. That's why he was the defensive player of the year. But you have your concerns, right? We've always talked about the rebounding with Jaren Jackson. We've always talked about the foul trouble with Jaren Jackson and the long-term possibility of him playing 5. We just haven't been able to really lock in on that. And because they have a lot of injuries this year and a lot is going on, maybe we'll start to see some light of that. But even then, they're starting Xavier Tillman because it's just like, yeah, Jaren Jackson at the 5 just hasn't been ideal. It's not too late because it's top 25 and a 25. I think what Jaren Jackson is probably 24 or about to be 25 very shortly. So he obviously still has time. But just based off everything we've seen, I might lean to Chet. I might say I would like to flip them. I would like to. I might say that. I might say there's an argument that Chet can even be higher than 10. Where? I'm not really sure. But he's been just as exciting as Vic. The only difference is it's Vic. So Vic is getting all the attention. But if this was like Vic was coming in next year, every conversation would be around Chet. He's just kind of like getting overshadowed with the Vic hype, and he plays with the Thunder, which also has Shea, and he has 2 other teammates in the top 25. There's a lot of impressive things going on over in OKC. But if you just look at Chet and you take out all the noise, it's been pretty damn impressive. Evan Mobley. I like Evan Mobley. I love Evan Mobley. Still trying to really understand with Jaren Jackson. Would you rather have Jaren or would you rather have Evan Mobley? Again, I don't want to nitpick because they right next to each other, but it's just things that are coming across my mind. Like, which one would you rather have? Darius Garland at 8. This is my first time seeing Zion like 7. I'm so used to seeing Zion be like one of the top 5 things, but because of the injury history, I don't know. I may have even Zion low. Zion may be like 10 for me because of the injury history. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he plays this year a legitimate, number of games, if he plays 69 games this year, 69. If he plays 68 games this year, then I may feel different. But I have to go over the potential with a little bit of the history that I already know for each player as much as I can. So Zion will probably be around 10. I'm fine with LaMelo being 9. Darius Garland may drop out of the top 10 for me. There's just guys that I think I would project higher, like Paolo Banchero. If you ask me if I could have Paolo or Darius Garland to start my team out of this list right here, I'm taking Paolo every single time. If you ask me if I could have Chet or Darius Garland, I'm taking Chet. If you can ask me if I have Scotty Barnes or Darius Garland, I'm probably taking Scotty Barnes. Now, there are same thing with Maxey. Shit, I think it's a legitimate conversation with him and Maxey. Now, yeah, Maxey, he's about to have a full year of doing what he's doing. Probably my lead candidate to get MIP, but is Darius, even right now, just on a surface level, is Darius Garland better than Tyrese Maxey? I don't know if we know that. Darius Garland has been put in a certain position and he has the all-star nod. But now that it's kind of leveled because there's no James Harden, Tyrese Maxey is now caught up in his experience. He's the lead guy. It's running through him. I'm seeing what I'm liking for Tyrese Maxey. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's not like a definite for me. And if it is, they should be a lot closer than 8 and 11. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're 3 players apart. They should be like 9-10 or 10-11. You know, I would think that they would be this close. So those are just things that are popping off of my mind. Guys that I like there, and then there's interesting guys. So like Josh Giddey. I don't really know where I place Josh Giddey in all of this. I like Josh Giddey. He should be on the list. But he's had a weird start right now to his career. Not to his career, to this season. There's conversations that he could be the odd man out because you're going to have to, you know, Shea got his money. Chet got to get money eventually. J-Dub got to get money. You gave Dort some money. You can't pay everybody $100 million. You can't have 6 players with $100 million. At least I don't think so. If I'm wrong, correct me. So we'll see what happens with Josh Giddey. Franz may be too low. Franz may be too low. Or is Franz... No, matter of fact, let me take that back. Before Franz is perfect. Franz is perfect in my opinion. Everybody in the top 5, I think, is solidified. We'll just say that. Top 5 is solidified. I like that. Ja Morant at 5. Ja Morant at 5 is proper. Ja Morant at 5 is proper. It just feels like I haven't seen Ja Morant in a very long time. Like, that's all. It just feels like I haven't seen Ja Morant in a very long time. You know, we had obviously the entire offseason goes by, and now we 10 games in. And it feels like the last times I have been seeing Ja, it's just been the chatter and the distraction. So we can leave Ja at 5. K Cunningham, I might fall back on just a little bit. And I think, matter of fact, if we're just basing off of potential, Chet may have to be at like 6. We basing off potential. I may put Chet at 6. Zion we can keep at 7. Then I may have to put Paolo at 8. Maxey at like 9. LaMelo at like 10. Paolo at like 11. Then you got Emo, Scotty Barnes. Yeah, man, but I forgot about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is like, I think Scotty Barnes might be top 10. If what we see from Scotty Barnes is gonna be what we get the entire year, Scotty Barnes, without a doubt, is top 10. Without a doubt. So we got our top 4. Okay. We got our top 5. I'm gonna let Ja live right there. At 6, put my mouse. At 6, I want Chet at 6. 7 is Zion. 8 need to be Zion. 8, matter of fact, 8 should be Maxey. I think 9 is Evan Mobley. No. Maxey, Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, Paolo, Garland, LaMelo is like 13, which is no disrespect. It's no disrespect, Melo. You've been banged up. Some of these guys are kind of getting above you, but I still think LaMelo got game. And then, yeah, you just kind of fill in the void. I guess Franz could maybe move up a little spot. Tyler Hero's kind of low. I think Tyler Hero could be in it. If you gave me 2 guys, I'm taking Tyler Hero over Jalen Green. Just so far. Tyler Hero's kind of held back because he's in the Heat with Bam and Jimmy, and you know they brought him on slowly. He was a 6 man and everything like that. But like as of right now, I'm taking Tyler Hero over Jalen Green, plus the projection. I'm not saying Jalen Green don't deserve to be on here. I'm just not as high on Jalen Green as others right now. I really do think that Alperen Sengun should be like the priority young player over there. You know, Amen still should, you should look at Amen. You should look at Cam Whitmore. Jabari and Jalen Green are not bad players, but because all three of them start next to Dillon Brooks and Fred, when I've watched Houston Rockets games, when things go through Sengun, they look better for everybody, including Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. It's no knock on them, but I think what people project Jalen Green to be, it may not be there, which does not mean he's not going to be a good player. It doesn't mean, Houston failed. It just means they may have to play a different way. I think they may have thought that Jalen Green could be one of those guys that they could play through, and he can be your guy. And you could just give him the ball and everything is going to run through him and he'll make decisions, and he can be like Devin Booker, or he may be more like Zach LaVine, where he could put up some numbers, but going directly through him, it may look good on some highlights, but when it comes to winning, it may not really be that thing. But when Sengun touches the rock, especially on offense, solely on offense, things open up. And I feel like when they had their little 3-game winning streak, granted it was against the Kings twice with no De'Aaron Fox, and you also went against the Hornets, there were some things that I liked that I saw. Just everything kind of opened up. It makes them less predictable. You know what I'm saying? It makes them extremely less predictable. You have Sengun getting the ball on the elbow. You got handoffs with Jalen Green going downhill with a full head of steam. You got the fake handoff, and Sengun can go and explode to the rim. We've seen him put guys on posters already. Even if he doesn't get all the way downhill to score, Sengun has the capability of kicking it out to a Jabari in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Things open up with him and Fred VanVleet. He handed off to Fred VanVleet, then he rolls, boom. 2 people go to him. Fred got a shot. 2 people go to Fred. He's open under the paint. I just love the endless options that you have with Sengun. He's like a baby Jokic. Baby Jokic. There's some Sabonis there, except I think he can shoot the ball a lot better than Sabonis. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Sabonis. He's a bruiser. Obviously, there's steps you want to see him take defensively. And I think he's capable because he's such a cerebral player like Sabonis and like Jokic, where they may not be rim protectors who are blocking shots into the stands, but IQ-wise, you can teach them good defensive habits to make them better than what they've historically been known to be, where they can anticipate things, that can be good with steals, deflections. I've seen Sengun, he's willing to take charges. That's something that I've seen in the Rockets games this season. So I just think Sengun should be higher. And if it was up to me, I might put him higher than Jalen Green. The player that would be 25th on this list would either be, based off the start, Scoot would be 25th maybe. Walker Kessler maybe be 25th. I would take Jalen Duren over Walker Kessler. Jalen Duren doesn't block the shots, but Walker Kessler hasn't been blocking the shots this year like he was his rookie year. And granted, it's been a small sample size, but Jalen Duren is like a monster. He's scoring the ball, rebounding the ball. He can block shots too. Maybe not at the rate of Walker Kessler, but I just think that there's more there with Jalen Duren. So I might have him at Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler may be my 25th guy on this list, because when you talk about fullest potential, a lot of these guys got some stardom in them. A lot of these guys can be a little bit more than just an all-star. Walker Kessler, to me, that may be my thing with him, where he can maybe be an all-star, but I don't see much more than that. And again, I don't think that that's a bad thing, based on his prototype and the type of player that Utah is trying to build him to be, which is a rim protecting big who can, score on offensive rebound and maybe a lob here, a lob there. We'll see what the 3-point shot expands to potentially, but it hasn't looked like anything other than just being an elite rim protector, which is valuable, but it's limited. There's not a top 10 player in the league because they just block shots or it's just protecting the rim. Rudy at his highest was not a high-rated player in the league. He was an all-star, though. So I see the same type of thing with Walker, so maybe he would be 25th. Keegan Murray, I don't really know how to feel, because Keegan Murray is really, really dang good, and he's on a really, really good team, so I think it really gets overshadowed. But he is a really good basketball player, and there's more to his game. So I kind of feel like he's low. You know what I mean? Josh Giddey or Keegan Murray. There's arguments for both of them. You can say Josh Giddey is held back a little bit because he plays with Shea. Maybe if he goes somewhere and he can handle the ball. But again, if you gave Josh Giddey the ball more, what would happen? It would be like, because the catch and shoot it's not how you would want it to be. He's not like an amazing scorer. He can, and he'll do it on some nights, but on a consistent basis, Josh Giddey isn't this out of the world scorer. Is he a guard? It's just very hard. Keegan Murray, I just know he can fit anywhere. You could put Keegan Murray right now on the Thunder. You could put Keegan Murray on the Rockets. You could put Keegan Murray on the Jazz. You could put Keegan Murray on the Grizzlies. You could put him on the Hornets. You could put him on the Cavs. You could put him on the Pelicans. You could put him on the Pistons. Put him on the Pacers, Spurs. Anywhere Keegan Murray can play. And I think there's value in that. We have to stop limiting guys or taking away their value because they may not be the flashiest or they may not put up like stat sheet stuff and things, which is Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey can get you 13 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Keegan Murray may get you 23 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. It ain't stuffed, but like it fit and it worked. So I may be leaning to Keegan Murray there. It's really tough to analyze Scoot because this start is just like rock bottom, and I just don't project him to continue to be like that. But at the same time, how do you project him? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not also going to just project him high because he was picked high. And if we're going off what we've seen already in projection, there's an argument that his teammates should be on here, Shaedon Sharpe. I kind of would prefer Shaedon Sharpe to be on this list than Scoot. Personally. I get why Vic is here. I get why Chet is here. There's high level scary potential, and we've already seen things early on in the season. But like Scoot, the potential is there, but we also haven't seen anything. So that would kind of be my reaction to this. It's just, I think it's solid. I think it's cool. But what's more so interesting to me with lists like this is how people value potential. Because I guess that's kind of like my talking point or my viewpoint with some of these players that I kind of dove in. Like Jalen Green. I think Jalen Green is a cool young player. But what do y'all project, or what do you think his potential is? Do people think Jalen Green is like a superstar on the like y'all think he's going to potentially be on a top 5? Again, I'm not saying it's out of the question because all of these guys are so young, anything is possible. But based off what I've seen, I think Jalen Green is going to be a good shooting guard. I don't know if I'm ready to say great though. And I get that same type of vibe from like Zach LaVine. I get that same type of vibe from Bradley Beal, where like they're good, but we haven't seen that great page get turned. We've seen Bradley Beal put up gaudy numbers on a abysmal Wizards team, but like it didn't really move anybody. It was impressive, especially when it first happened, but other than that, it was just like, oh, and then that was kind of it. We've seen Zach LaVine put up numbers and do his thing and have highlights with the Bulls, and I love Zach LaVine. I'm a big Zach LaVine guy, but when I look at the landscape of shooting guards, it's like Zach LaVine he's good, but we still haven't seen that other thing. And I think now we are aware that the next thing for Zach LaVine is to go compliment somebody and not be like this super big piece of the core. Like, he's going to be a big piece, but you rather see him in Philadelphia where you have Embiid, Maxey, and then Zach. So it's like we're understanding that. I don't know if Rocket people or people around the league are thinking of Jalen like that. They might still be thinking of him as the top featured person. But in reality, I'm starting to just project similarities with certain guys, project him like what we see with Beal. Beal went over to Phoenix, Book, Durant, him. Instead of being like, oh, he's the guy. Pump the brakes on that. We've seen it already. Same thing with like a Josh Giddey. What do people project Josh Giddey's potential to be? Is he ever an all-star? Is he just a really good starter? Is he I really don't know. And I don't think it's not a knock because I like every player on this list. I'll just let y'all know every player on this list I like. There's things to like. But full potential, I really cannot put my finger on it with Josh Giddey. Walker Kessler, I really believe the fullest potential is just elite rim protection. How valuable is that when we've seen other elite guys kind of be so? It's valuable. Don't misinterpret me. It's valuable, but like we haven't seen anybody be like a superstar because they are elite at protecting the rim. You have to do other things. There have to be a big part of his game that develops and grows as well. And he wasn't like, and he's Walker Kessler. I would love to know how old he is. Probably he should be like 22 or 23. Walker Kessler is not a one and done player. You know, I think he went to North Carolina, then transferred to Auburn, and then came into the draft. He's already in his second season. So yeah, Walker Kessler is probably like 22, 23. So he ain't like he's, you know, one of these super young guys like Duren. Jalen Duren is still, I think, a teenager, if I'm not mistaken. Might be the youngest guy on this list, him or Wemby. So yeah, that's just really the thing. Even J-Dub, like, what is the fullest potential for J-Dub? Is like, what is it? And feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm not saying it to discredit guys or say like, I think it's just interesting. I'm just very interested to hear what people think certain guys' potentials are. Tyrese Halliburton at 4. Is Tyrese Halliburton a future MVP candidate? Like, is that why we have him at 4? Is he, you know, because I think top 5 that's what it's supposed to be. Guys who can be an MVP in this league should be the top 5 when you talk about top 25 and the 25, unless we just don't have any player like that. But I could see Luka winning MVP this year. Anthony Edwards could win it this year. Vic is going to have a chance where he's going to win it. We've already seen the hype with Ja of being like in the MVP conversation. Can Tyrese Halliburton reach that level? Not saying he can or that he can't or that he can. I'm just asking. Can he? So that I get, yeah, that's just really my thing. Off the top of my mind, people that didn't make it, like I said, I like Shaedon Sharpe over his teammate Henderson. Jabari didn't make it. I'm fine with that. Brandon Miller didn't make it. No Thompson twin made it. I think this is a good group. I think this is a really good group of guys. Maybe I need to go check some ages. Maybe I'm thinking some guys are older than they are. Maybe it is a bunch of guys who didn't make this list who I should be like, oh my gosh, how you didn't have this guy or how you get in? But I'll first look. This is a good list. Some things I would change, some questions I would ask. And yeah, I think that's just really the conversation for me. I really, really want y'all to really get in the comments and be active on this specific video. I always welcome comments, but more than ever, I would love to hear what y'all think of certain players. And I'm more so just asking basketball people. I don't want to hear what Rocket fans think of Jalen Green, because obviously your perspective is a little bit more blurred or a little bit more biased than ours, right? Because you're hoping. That's what I try to tell fans all the time. The difference between me and you, the fan of that particular person or team, is that you have hope in your analysis. You have hope in your perspective. Because I'm non-biased, there is no hope. I don't have to be hopeful that Şengün is an all-star. If Şengün is an all-star or not, it will not affect me and my fandom because I'm not a Rockets diehard fan. I'm just a basketball lover. So if all of these guys could make an all-star game, I'm going to be extremely happy because shit, why not? But if none of these guys ever make an all-star game again, I'll just go on to talk about the guys who do. It doesn't really make or break me. I root for everybody. But specific diehard fans, they don't know how to remove the hope from it, which I don't even want to ask them to. You know, I get it. I'm a fan. I'm not that much of a Knicks fan, but I get it. And even as a Knicks fan, there's been certain times in my fandom where the hope has kind of got me, where it's like my hope is projecting them to be a little bit better. So yeah, please let me know, my basketball fans who are able to be non-biased, or if you're a Warriors fan or somebody like that that doesn't have any ties to any of these players. I just want to know anybody. There's no specific players. Well, matter of fact, yeah, let's do Josh Giddey. Let's do Walker Kessler. Let's do Jalen Green. Let's do Franz and J-Dub. And then anybody else that you got, Keegan Murray, and then also, yeah, like I said, anybody else. Hell, LaMelo. Is LaMelo at 9, him going this way, the list, or is it him going that way? And then the context is needed. Is LaMelo on the wrong team? Is Josh Giddey on the wrong team? Who else is on here that I could say? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there anybody that's like Scotty Barnes, or you like, man, give that person a bigger role and let that other guy go, like Pascal and the Raptors? It's like, it looks like they're kind of just pushing on to Scotty, and it's opened up. And in years prior, it kind of was still Fred, Pascal, OG, and it kind of got in the way of Scotty. Is there, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean with Josh Giddey being on their own team. It's not that he can't stay there. I don't want to break up the Thunder, but does he look completely different on, I don't know. I can't even think of a team for Josh Giddey. Is he better on, damn it, what is a team? The Bulls? The Bulls rebuild, and they say, hey, we'll give you Zach LaVine. Give us Giddey. Did Giddey go to the Bulls and just start putting up crazy, monstrous numbers? And it's like, oh, a team by itself with no expectations, he's putting up numbers. Yeah, let me know in the comments y'all thoughts, opinions, whether you agree or disagree. I'm open to it all. As always, I appreciate you guys for coming through, rocking with your boy. Make sure you show some love. And as always, I will see y'all next time. I'm out. Peace.